What's that noise?
Oops, I farted.
Out of nowhere.
Oh my God, we hit a boat!
Where's the foot?
Scary Movie, the 2000s parody movie that introduced me to both parody movies and slasher horror films. I was a big ol' weenie when it came to anything remotely scary, but Scary Movie wasn't just scares, it was inappropriate, racy, comedic bits galore, everything a preteen boy wanted. Nearly 25 years later, I still think Scary Movie is one of the OG all-time great parody movies. The Wayans brothers really cooked up something fresh for the time that both lampooned and elevated both 90s slasher gems like Scream and a little less so I Know What You Did Last Summer, but after a recent rewatch, I thought to myself, what are they making fun of? Where are all these Easter eggs, references, and jokes actually coming from? Strap in because we're diving headfirst into everything from the source material Scary Movie parodies, pop culture references, small hidden things in the background, behind-the-scenes details, amongst a whole bevy of other things. So grab a nanner and get excited for everything in Scary Movie you probably, maybe missed.
But wait! There's more!
You're right, Ray. Thank you, Betterhelp, for sponsoring this video. Betterhelp is in the business of making access to therapy easier, connecting you with a licensed therapist to fit your needs, providing personal, unbiased, helpful advice. The last 5 years have been chaotic for a majority of reasons. Unlike the laughs of a Scary Movie, being a content creator can bring on a lot of personal stress, anxiety, comparison, amongst other things. Burnout. Burnout was the other thing. If any of life's troubles are bringing you down, big or small, BetterHelp is here to, well, help. To get started, click the link in my bio or simply go to betterhelp.com/JBuckStudios, where you can fill out an initial questionnaire, evaluate your needs, and match you with a curated therapist in roughly 48 hours. And the cool thing is, if your initial therapist just isn't the right fit, simply switch to a new one until you find one that you can fully trust and connect with. One of my personal bugaboos is the notion therapy is expensive, but with BetterHelp they offer affordable options, both online and mobile, to help fit your budget. So if you're struggling through your day-to-day life and thinking, maybe I should consider therapy, click the link in the description or simply head to betterhelp.com/JBuck and get 10% off your first month of therapy. Get to a better you with BetterHelp. Now, back to the video. When Scary Movie hit theaters in the summer of 2000, it had been a minute since the days of Airplane and the Naked Gun franchise ruled supreme, and honestly, it was a gamble. A parody film from Dimension Films, poking fun at its sister company's golden child, Miramax's Scream franchise, having hit success only a few years prior. But the secret sauce that allowed Scary Movie to shine, whereas other parodies fell short, was heavily due to the Wayans brothers, Kenan, Shawn, and Marlon, off the success of In Living Color in the early 90s, combined with the sudden cancellation of their sitcom, The Wayans Brothers. The trio began to see a trend in 90s slashers, essentially retreading tropes of 70s and 80s slashers, but framed in a satirical manner.
Scream was cool, then Scream 2 started to get a little annoying. And then I Know What You Did Last Summer made us go, you know what? It's time to parody them.
This fueled them in two ways. One was, we gotta make fun of these movies. And two was, we're gonna go where Scream was too scared to actually go. Finding the line and long jumping past it.
A spoof of a satire, that's what I like to say. Because Scream was definitely a satire. And that made a big challenge for us. Because I would say to the guys, they already told that joke. So you can't go where they went. We had to go somewhere else.
And let me tell you, the Wayans, with their writing partners of Buddy Johnson and Phil Bowman, set out to do just that. If you're not aware, Scary Movie primarily takes a majority of its plot from both Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer, including the killer wearing a ghost-faced outfit, using both a buck hunting knife and a fisherman hook. Heck, Scary Movie was even the original working title for Scream. These are the two, slasher forces that are smashed together, creating the film's main through line. I guess just to be clear, throughout this video, I am not going to stop and point out every single little tiny minute thing that relates back to these two core movies. So if there are some angry comments saying, "Grrr, you didn't mention the popcorn from Scary Movie as a reference to Scream, ah!" then I have to say,
You've had your fun, now you better stop or else.
So we got Carmen Electra playing Drew Decker, leaning into the Casey Becker role from Scream, which was originally played by Drew Barrymore. We'll see a lot more of this combining of movie character name with the actor or actress name as we get further into this video, but first, Drew threatens the killer on the phone.
Or else what?
Or else my boyfriend's gonna be here any minute, and he's black and he'll kick your ass.
Which turns out to be a Prince lookalike when the patio lights turn on, but in reality, there is far more to this seemingly simple joke. A year prior to Scary Movie's release, Electra had been in a chaotic relationship with Dennis Rodman, who was notorious at the same time for being a weird guy. Really, he is. Wearing makeup and women's clothing like the killer says. However, the reason Prince is there as well is also because he basically discovered Electra, giving her her iconic name, first shot at showbiz. Word on the street is they kinda sorta dated, which all led to her Playboy shoots. Again, another thing the killer's looking at. And later Baywatch, which is referenced front and center when Electra is running from the killer. Before this, Drew claims her favorite Scary Movie is Kazam, a critically and just hilariously bad 90s movie starring Shaquille O'Neal as a genie, noting his poor acting. You've seen it, the memes, everything. I don't need to talk about Kazam. Surprisingly, this joke was seen as maybe too niche for foreign audiences, and in the French version, it was changed or replaced with Space Jam and Michael Jordan.
Oh, je sais, Space Jam avec Michael Jordan et Bugs Bunny.
Whereas the German version was changed to Spice Girls and the critically acclaimed Spice World.
Oh, ich weiß, ich hab's. Spice World mit den Spice Girls.
Blah, 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 girl power.
The final little detail in this opening perfect homage is a very brief look at an actual Scream poster hanging next to the front door. I gotta admit, I had never seen this despite it being pretty easy to spot. After the title drop, we're introduced to Anna Faris's Cindy Campbell, much like Drew Decker, combining the Scream character name and actress name of Sydney Prescott and Neve Campbell. I didn't know this, but Anna Faris hadn't been in anything prior to Scary Movie. 0 credits, no agent, filmed an audition tape, sent it in, and the rest is history. And we've been treated to her comedic genius ever since, both bonkers and inspiring. Now, upon a rewatch for this breakdown, there was a bevy of small little out-of-focus background jokes that I never really picked up. First of which is this little certificate on Sydney's desk, with the look of a school excellence award. However, it's for being a virgin, setting up Cindy as the stereotypical virgin final girl, along with Bobby's overwhelming horny teenage tendencies. There's also this red, always open neon sign that I initially thought was more of an adult innuendo, but I think it's a sign to Bobby, who's a play on Skeet Ulrich's Billy Loomis, letting him know that the window is open. This, of course, also explains how the killer probably got in and out of the house throughout the film. Cindy mentions throwing up green slime and pleasuring herself with a crucifix, a nod to Reagan in 1973's The Exorcist, our first non-Scream or I Know What You Did Last Summer horror movie reference that, funny enough, went on to be the opening premise of Scary Movie 2. But while Billy and Cindy are getting hot and heavy, I Don't Want to Wait by Paula Cole begins to play, with James Van Der Beek mistakenly going to the wrong window. A nod to the now cult classic teen drama series Dawson's Creek, both with one of its leads and theme song, which I'm pretty sure that they had to swap out now that it's on streaming because of licensing music, the rights had elapsed, but don't quote me on that. Things really open up when Cindy gets to school, introducing us to the rest of the gang. First, Brenda Meeks, whose name comes from a combination of Tatum Meeks from Scream and Brenda Bates from 1988's Urban Legend. Interestingly enough, Jared Leto, yeah, that guy, you know him, Morbius, Morbin Time, who plays a prominent role in Urban Legend, was originally offered the role of Bobby, but instead bowed out to be in Requiem for a Dream, also starring Marlon Wayans. I want to see this parallel universe because he 100% would have never been the Joker if this casting went down. Cindy's other friend, Buffy, is a play on Helen Shivers from I Know What You Did Last Summer, played by Sarah Michelle Gellar, who at the time was playing Buffy Summers in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So like, it's all connected, man. As the pair wait for Buffy, Brenda goes on a rant about Buffy at some sort of Puff Daddy party.
My friend Shawn had a pool party this summer.
Shawn.
You know, Puff Daddy. And then it started to get wild and people was getting freaky in the pool and stuff.
Which, now watching this movie through the lens of 2024, yeah, these rich celebrities, they knew what was happening. I mean, come on. Behind them is a throwaway joke with a reserved parking spot label for coroner. A different angle shows a van with the same designation. Later in the hallway, there's a small background reference to 1978's Grease, with the little hearts on the bulletin board stating the names Pink Ladies and T-Birds, the two main groups from the 70s musical. Rounding out the rest of the characters and their satirical character names are Shorty Meeks, Brenda's brother, and a play on Randy Meeks. This was reinforced much clearer in some deleted scenes showing Shorty as the horror movie fan that are direct homages to Randy's scenes from Scream. Greg Philippi, a play on Ryan Philippi, who starred in I Know What You Did Last Summer, and of course Gale Hailstorm, being the sassy news reporter playing into Scream's Gale Weathers. Just everything about the casting and names and characters is self-referential in many ways.
Jennifer loved huge tits.
In Cindy's classroom, her red-headed curmudgeon of a teacher is played by Kelly Caulfield Park, another tied to the Wayans brothers, having been an original cast member on In Living Color. Other things in the classroom include Heather, this overachieving, overeager student who is playing Tracy Flick from 1999's Election. Earlier on, she's actually in the hallway reminding students to vote.
Take one, guys. Don't forget Elections Tuesday.
All of the bros and jocks in the classroom wear identical checkered shirts and seashell necklaces, a complete, cliched fashion trend for the time. That's me. I was cool. I was hip. And look who's sitting front and center in the classroom, an uncredited cameo from Christopher Masterson, who ends up being Buddy, Cindy's main love interest in Scary Movie 2. Two more horror movie references are when Cindy sees the killer, only to look back and not see him, straight out of Halloween, along with the killer casually leaving a note on her desk, threatening to reveal what she and the others did last Halloween instead of, what they did last summer. Surprisingly, this note is also a nod to a weird behind-the-scenes instance, including two seemingly identical scripts. Like I mentioned earlier, Shawn and Marlon Wayans teamed up with Buddy Johnson and Phil Bowman to pen the script for Scary Movie, which was originally titled, and I'm not kidding, Last Summer I Screamed Because Halloween Fell on Friday the 13th. Very much following their roots with the similar naming structure of their previous film, Don't Be a Menace to South Central While Drinking Your Juice in the Hood. I personally love that they changed the title because it could have been remembered as here's an example, the 41-year-old virgin who knocked up Sarah Marshall and felt super bad about it. It's bad, really bad. The weird thing is, another script titled Scream If You Know What I Did Last Halloween, written by Jason Friedman and Aaron Seltzer, had recently been bought by Dimension to, I guess, get it off the market. There was pandemonium behind the scenes because Friedman and Seltzer, who would later go on to hit audiences with bomb after bomb like Date Movie and Meet the Spartans, apparently threatened to sue. This and some other shenanigans with the WGA allowed the pair to get writing credits on the film, using it many a time as a marketing strategy for their other films, despite the Wayans claiming that everything was hella shady and they didn't use a single joke from this other script.
There was another team that did claimed that they did Scary Movie.
They wrote the first draft, correct?
No, they did not. We did. And Miramax had bought their script to take it off the market. And what happened was, when they bought their script to take it off the market,
They shelved that.
they shelved it, and they tried to say that we took shit from their script, which is bullshit. The crew that said that said they wrote Scary Movie, but they never went on the fucking set with us.
They don't even know where we shot it.
I have no idea. Freeberg and Seltzer.
And so the guild That's arbitrated
Disaster.
and they won.
Yeah.
Here's what happened.
So now we had to share credit.
Here's what happened. Old manager came out. He's like, "What are you working on?" I want to make fun of Scream. I want to parody Scream like I did.
Jades.
Don't Be a Menace. And he's like, "Oh, that's a fucking excellent idea." He said,
What are you? Hurry up with that. I said, yeah, I am. This motherfucker, he leaves Gold Miller 3 months later.
Sells it.
He fucking took my idea and gave it to those fucking dudes.
Yeah.
And they were writing my idea at the same time as I was writing fucking Scary Movie.
I gotta take the Wayans' side with this one, because if you compare their work side by side, it speaks for itself. But if you need reinsurance, the attention to detail 3 levels deep joke with Mr. Squiggy is perfect. So Principal Squigman is played by David L. Lander, who starred in the Happy Days spin-off Laverne and Shirley as a greaser named Squiggy. The Shots beer sign is another giveaway, as that is the name of the brewery where Laverne and Shirley worked. Now, in this universe of the show, Squiggy is essentially a parody of the Fonz. Hey! And the Fonz, played by Henry Winkler, is Principal Himbry in Scream, for which Scary Movie is a parody of. That is superb attention to detail. Moving along, the beauty pageant and Greg killing is all from I Know What You Did Last Summer. However, I never fully noticed the other contestants. We have Miss Congeniality, Miss Thing, Ms. Fellatio, you gotta love that one, but Ms. Knock Up and Ms. Hag being an older lady are things that missed my eyeballs ever since my first viewing of this movie. It's firmly established Buffy is, let's just say popular, seen by all the men cheering for her during the pageant. In the script, it's further shown to the audience that, yeah, Buffy gets around, with a locker room scene showcasing Buffy in the shower, and we can see her back is littered with tattoos, a bunch of crossed off hearts with other dudes' names, a 1 billion served tattoo, and a tramp stamp reading exit only. The police station has some tasty hidden nuggets too, like the outside of the building was established in 2017, which truly, absolutely makes no sense. There's a glass case full of plungers in the background, labeled break in case of interrogation. I can only assume what these are for, but then you notice that they are littered throughout the room. Drop in the comments what you think those plungers are actually used for. This and many other memorable moments were inspired by Keenan Ivory Wayans' directing style, in which one take was strictly the script, what the writers had thought up, and the next would be anything, improv, whatever the actors' instincts were, allowing for better ideas to win out, creating this kind of Frankenstein's monster of a finished project. In an interview, it's mentioned this drive to go further and kind of revolutionize the parody game led to including some pop culture references, specifically the Budweiser "What's Up" commercial. I remember this commercial being huge at the time, getting several versions, even a stereotypical white guy version.
What are you doing? Just watching the market recap, drinking an import.
However, I did not know that this whole "What's Up" idea was actually licensed from a 1998 short film called True, which features a few of the same guys all greeting each other with a familiar "What's Up." Directed by Charles Stone III, who was given the honor to direct this now famous beer commercial. So yeah, the more you know. Like I mentioned earlier, this was Anna Faris's first legit gig, rightfully so. Nerves, pressure, anxiety were off the charts, claiming in a 2017 EW interview that she didn't think she was funny. However, the lunchroom scene of her flailing about like a crazed Nev Campbell, which Faris absolutely nails, was a big personal win, allowing her to feel like, hey, maybe I'm starting to get a hang of this, which is all hard to believe after seeing her work in the finished project, the sequels that followed, and other projects like Just Friends.
I just want to eat you both up!
Behind Ray and Cindy, you can see today's menu items are same old shit and more same old shit, something that eluded me for years. But something new I noticed were the lunch ladies in the background. What the f is going on? One of them looks like a weird lizard alien blob creature, obviously hidden in the background not to be noticed. This tied in with the deleted scene featuring Shorty, high as hell, with the munchies going through the lunch line. I'm glad it was cut because if anything, it's just weird. I don't know what the joke or inspiration was, but I do like that there are remnants of this original cut hidden here or there, and I for one think that that is neat.
That's pretty neat.
There's really a ton of little things like this that accidentally or purposely made it past the cutting room floor. Ms. Mann's office has a German SS uniform on the coat rack, along with some BDSM knot tying examples on the wall, and a jug of what looks like potentially jungle juice, giving some insight into her true intentions with her students. When Buffy confronts the killer, you can see that the high school they attend is B.A. Corpse High School. Get it? Get it? Right before this, you can hear the killer taunt Buffy by saying a classic Stephen King The Shining quote. All of the beer and alcohol bottles are satirical names of real brands, like the killer drinking a 40 ounce of Killer rather than Miller, with others being Colt 45, Satan instead of Schlitz, and Jack Dad's Tennessee Whiskey. I'm sure everyone has their own favorite scenes and quotes from Scary Movie. Personally, the "What am I waiting for? What am I waiting for?" dude jumping from the building. Obviously, this is poking fun at a similar scene from I Know What You Did Last Summer, featuring Jennifer Love Hewitt screaming in the street.
What are you waiting for, huh? What are you waiting for?
And I shit you not, legend has it that this scene was conceived and directed, I gotta put quotes around that, by a child who won a random contest. Hewitt mentioned this in a 2018 interview, however, details are kind of spotty. I know I'm way off topic here, but that's insane. Like, imagine that happening today with a random Twitter user directing a scene in the upcoming Avengers Endgame 2 Electric Boogaloo. Things were nuts in the 90s. Gale and Kenny have a run-in with the killer that quickly takes a Blair Witch Project turn, with Gale hiding in the woods akin to the characters in that movie. Close up, lower camera angle and all, minus the insane amount of snot dripping, good lord. Some of the film's promo art also featured the Blair Witch stickmen. What I enjoy about Scary Movie is that it doesn't limit itself with what films the Wayans included, expanding from Scream 1 to Scream 2 for the movie theater scenes, poking fun at the entire opening movie theater scenario, with Brenda and Ray being the Jada Pickett and Omar Epps characters. First, let's enjoy the coming attractions. This one is rated... what? Personally, these are my favorite kind of jokes, hiding something ridiculous under the guise of otherwise normal. The first preview is for Amistad 2, featuring Keenan Ivory Wayans in the director cameo, doing his best Jack and Rose Titanic bit.
I'm the king of the world! I'm the king of the world!
Ray heads to the restroom, which ends up leading to the same fate as Omar Epps in the opening of Scream 2. However, instead of a knife through Ray's head, it's,
Dick!
Exactly, it was,
Johnson.
You get it. He was curious about...
Sushi, glory, hole.
And ended up D.E.D. dead. But initially, as he wanders into the bathroom, there is a poster for Jackie Brown, another Miramax released film. And I'll also mention that in the movie theater, they are watching Shakespeare in Love, which is also another Miramax released film. During the final party scene, Shorty gives his best Haley Joel Osment.
I see dead people.
I see dead people.
I still haven't seen The Sixth Sense, but I get it. It's been spoiled so many times. The killer rapping with Shorty and his crew gives a nod to the Friday the 13th whisper. Bobby later quotes 1960s Psycho when revealing himself as one of the killers to Cindy.
We all go a little crazy sometimes.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
Bobby and Cindy getting it on later references Jim and Michelle's prom night shenanigans from 1999's American Pie.
What's my name, Bobby?
What?
Oh, what's my name, bitch?
Oh, God, it's Cindy.
What's my name? Say my name, bitch!
Michelle.
I guess if you lived under a rock in the 90s for a second, Cindy turns into that damn Tootsie Pop Mr. Owl.
I never could wait to get to the chewy middle.
How many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop?
1, 2, 3.
How many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop? The world may never know.
And Ray and Bobby bitch about Jack Black's reggae man casting, and I still know what you did last summer.
What about the sequel? Huh? What the hell's with that fat white Jamaican
Oh,
kid?
I want to kill that
Me
motherfucker.
too, man.
It's bad casting, Bobby.
The pair's complaints are pretty unanimous, and a lot of people may not know this, but Jack Black was uncredited for this movie, with rumors being that he was contractually obligated to be in another movie at this time, so foregone the credits. As Bobby and Ray begin to cover up their crimes, Ray stabs Bobby, going into a frenzy of how the Wayans brothers sitcom was unexpectedly canceled, breaking the fourth wall in this moment. An interesting what if was that the script was actually seemingly playing into this throwaway line about the sitcom cancellation, with it being revealed that director Keenen Ivory Wayans was actually going to be the killer, fueled by revenge over the cancellation of this TV sitcom, making the entire thing a breaking the fourth wall self-referential moment, but later was decided against. I like the idea, but it's such an out of left field random idea that I just don't think the audiences would have got it. Cindy goes head to head with the killer in a Matrix-esque bullet time beatdown that leads to what I assume is an ode to Irish river dance. I do specifically remember that almost like every commercial break at this time on TV would have a damn Lord of the Dance promo commercial. I did not know how widespread this was, but apparently it was. Cindy's father is dressed similarly to Sydney's father at the end of Scream, and Cindy kicking the killer out of the window, only to check and realize that he's gone, being the perfect ending homage to 1978's Halloween. Funny enough, Halloween was supposed to play a bigger role in this movie, or specifically a certain Halloween character, Laurie Strode. In the original script for the film, when Cindy is first fighting off the killer, tossing bikes and other things at Mr. Ghost-Faced Man, she was supposed to try hiding in a closet, opening to reveal Jamie Lee Curtis is already in there hiding, a nod to the ending closet scene from Halloween. The idea eventually crumbled, with Curtis saying that she just did not want to make fun of her iconic character. She, dodged that bullet.
Evil dies tonight!
In the final police interrogation scenes, the police chief reveals that the fisherman Cindy and her friends ran over and tossed into the water was
David Keegan,
a play on David Egan from I Know What You Did Last Summer, despite him having an appearance closer to the old fisherman Ben Willis, only to have a breakthrough realizing that the actual killer was none other than Doofy, all playing into the ending of The Usual Suspects, where all of the clues flood back to the detectives, dropping their coffee mug in a similar fashion, revealing everything. Doofy drops the act, revealing that he has no physical disabilities, much like Kevin Spacey's reveal in The Usual Suspects, as he heads off into the sunset with Gail and avoiding capture. Now, Dave Sheridan, who played Doofy to a T, actually based the character on one that he had developed over many years and starred in a couple of short films called Chip. This landed him the Doofy and killer roles in an extremely awkward audition. According to a 2020 Variety interview, Sheridan had showed up to the audition in full character, did not break at all, getting in people's faces like, high five, and the story goes, about 10 minutes after his audition, he received a call saying that the casting people were freaking out because they thought that the talent agency had sent a man with actual learning disabilities. He went back, showing them himself out of character, and boom, the role was his. He also then kind of snuck in a nice little negotiation, saying that he will play the Doofy role if he also gets to be the killer, which fully sets up everything that we see in the final film. There are a couple of times Doofy is teased to be the killer, one of which is being his name graffitied on the police station brick wall, the writing is on the wall, and another when the killer threatens Cindy when staying at Buffy's house. You can hear Doofy break character right after their mom calls for Doofy. He says, "No, it isn't me."
You got the wrong guy.
No!
Yep,
Doofy?
it's not Bobby. No.
Who is this?
Things come to a close with a mid-credit scene of Shorty giving the audience the 3 rules of what we assume is supposed to be survival in a horror film, but it's for stealing from a convenience store. Sure, it's a funny end button, but mirrors Randy Meeks' Warning Rules video from Scream 3. And the final post-credits is a quick throwaway scene with Doofy having to break up with his vacuum, but not before one last sucky. Scary Movie went on to earn $43 million on its opening weekend off of a $19 million budget, and overall, after its entire theatrical run, Scary Movie grossed $278 million worldwide, not only being the top-grossing opening for a black director, but toppling Air Force One as the top-grossing R-rated movie ever at that time, which, honestly, I had no clue how big Scary Movie was. It was dominating. Good news all around, the sequel was instantly greenlit and released only a year later, with the Wayans helming the ship. In regards to a sequel, many of the original Scary Movie art, posters, DVD covers had the tagline of "No mercy, no shame, no sequel," which then had the "no sequel" crossed off in red once the second film was released. Now, Scary Movie 2 unfortunately didn't do the numbers of the original, but a full-blown franchise was born out of the original's success. However, as many of these stories go, it is not a happy ending for the Wayans, quite possibly the opposite when it comes to Scary Movie 3 and 4.
You can try. You can't do Wayans shit without the Wayans.
Yeah.
You can try, but eventually you're gonna lose a lot of money. And they took the idea, and I was like, oh, fuck you. So they took the idea, they hired the Zucker brothers, and they brought them on to do Scary Movie 3 based on the idea that we told them. Yeah, you feel that outrageous feeling that you feel?
Yeah!
That's what we felt. Times 3.
Personally, Scary Movie holds a special place in my heart, solely from, the memories I have associated with the film. Watching it countless times at my buddy Chris's place, sipping on some wild cherry Pepsi, and just quoting the movie endlessly. Or another time where I was at my buddy Mike's birthday party, and his dad came in during a very inappropriate scene and was just like, boo. As a parody movie, this is a massive win. As a slasher fan, truly, I believe that the Scream franchise had the success that it did, partly based off of Scary Movie. You would be shocked by how many people out there get scenes from these two movies mixed up, and it's just one of those turn-of-the-century gems that I highly recommend to everyone. Some jokes are dated, but the overall attention to detail, comedic writing, everything, chef's kiss all around. Let me know your memories with Scary Movie, favorite jokes, quotes, if you learned something new from this video, and should I do the same breakdown treatment for Scary Movie 2? Thank you everyone for watching, and thank you Betterhelp for sponsoring this video. All of my socials are in the description. Give this video a like because, it helps the algorithm, please, and thank you. But that's everything. So, peace out.